Facebook ads and Instagram ads, they're the same thing. You should be running them from inside of your Facebook ads manager. If you're trying to do Instagram ads, don't use the blue promote button on Instagram. I've got full playlists. I got a Facebook ads playlist and an Instagram ads playlist, so make sure you go check both of those out for some really good tutorials. Let's lock down in this video targeting and retargeting, how to find high ROI interests, how to find really good strong targeting, and then how and why and when to use retargeting and what that can do for you. Let's jump right into this. There's three steps of progression when it comes to running Facebook or Instagram ads. So number one is, who are you putting your ad in front of? Number two is, what is the ad that you're putting in front of them? And number three is, where are you sending them? If any one of these steps are broken, if the first one's broken, it doesn't work. If the second one's broken, it doesn't work. If the second and third are broken, it doesn't work. Each one of these steps have to be spot on in order for the whole thing to work. Because first, you've got to put your ad, I'm gonna assume you may not be selling a product, but I'm gonna assume for the sake of these examples that we're selling a product. And so you need to figure out who wants that product and put your ad in front of them. And then you need to put an ad in front of them that they actually like, that they actually mess with, that they actually care about, that actually encourages them, entices them, gets them to click to wherever they're going, which is number three. Once they get there, and they're only gonna get there if the first two worked, once they get there, what's there, let's say that you sent them to your website. Your website then has to convince them and convert them into an actual sale, get them to buy and spend their money. So again, these all have to be in place, and there's not a way around it. It's tricky. It comes down to testing. Really, that's the best way. Is, yeah, you can do a lot of, you can get smart about, even before you're running ads, how you do your research as far as who you're gonna put your ad in front of, what ad you're gonna put in front of them. But ultimately, this is a game of a lot of testing, and one of the biggest mistakes I see beginners make with Facebook ads is just the lack of testing, the lack of wanting to test, sometimes the inability to test as much as necessary or needed. Oftentimes, most of the times, having to do with money, with your budget. You don't want to, you want to try and make it work for next to nothing, because you don't want to spend that much money out of pocket. You don't want to lose your money. But I mean, that's the advertising game just in general, and then especially Facebook ads is you got to have some money to mess with. So the first step is all about targeting, who you put your ad in front of, choosing the right audiences to put your ad in front of, because I mean, let's just be honest here, there's a lot of people, tons of people that you can reach on Facebook, and you don't want to reach all of them because not all of them are interested in what you're selling. In fact, it's probably a pretty small number compared to all the people that are that you can reach on Facebook. It's probably a pretty small number that you actually want to reach and get your ad in front of. And actually, you not only want to get your ad in front of people that are interested, you want to get your ad in front of buyers, people that will actually buy your product, so that way your ads, that way you're making money and your ads are costing you less and are more effective for you. So really, out of all the people and then all the people that are interested, you really want to just hone in on the people that are buyers, customers that are going to spend money and do so for the least amount of ad spend on your part. So how do we figure out and find who the right people are to put our ads in front of, and then how do we actually go put our ads in front of them? So I'm going to walk through a couple different strategies here. So the first one is to use this tool here called Audience Insights. So first, you need to know what it is you're selling. So I'm just going to use this as an example. The process we're about to go through the same process, but just do it for your product. So I'm going to say we're selling bath soaps. So right here in the interest, I'm going to type in bath soap, see if that comes up. Okay, it doesn't look like bath soap's coming up, so let's go bath. So bath salts, let's do bath salts. Bath salts should work pretty good. So I'm gonna give that a click. All right, and then you'll see that some of the data over here on the right has changed. So you've got 4 different columns up here: demographics, page likes, location, activity. The main one I'm gonna have us look at, we'll briefly look at demographics, but the main thing I want us to look at is page likes. So I'm gonna click on page likes. Actually, let's come back here to demographics. So it's 88% women, let's start there, and 12% men. So knowing that, again, we want to find the people that are the most interested, but not only interested, we want to find the buyers, the people that are most likely to buy. So and this is 88% women. So we might as well just come over here and click on women, so that way none of the data from the men is included when we get to the page like section. All right, so now we've got only women selected, and we'll see that it's 25 to 34-year-old women that are making up the majority of the demographic, and then 23% 35 to 44. So let's just keep that in mind. I'm gonna jump over, and you could also come down here, relationship status. Most of them are married, most of them have gone to college, and then job-wise, most of them are in sales or administrative services. All right, good info. Let's jump over to page likes. I'll show you where the really good stuff happens. So we're in page likes now. Scroll down to this section right here. It's looking at, we typed in bath salts, and now it's finding us other interests with the highest related audiences. So this one right here, Sage Goddess, has an affinity of 134x. So that would be an interest that we would potentially want to target. That's another audience that we could target that's very closely related to bath salts. So Sage Goddess, Amazon Handmade, Shea Moisture, Wild Growth Hair Care, stuff like that. If we come back here to demographics and we switch the age over here, 25 to 34, to jump into like the majority of the demographic here. There we go. And then now we come over to page likes. We should see some of this has changed a little bit. Yeah, so like we've got this one. So like Shea Moisture's up there at the top more, and then we've got this, I don't know how to say that, but natural products one. So there's just some different ones that have come in here. So you'd grab, let's say this Sage Goddess one right here, for example. I'm gonna just copy that. And then when you're setting up, when you're inside of your campaign, in the ad set section of setting up your campaign, you'll want to throw this in the detailed targeting section right here and see if it comes up. Okay, so unfortunately this one's not coming up, and that's gonna happen, and you'll probably see that it happens pretty often, where it's showing in the Facebook audience insights that it's a high affinity audience, but when we try and plug it in as an interest in the targeting section, it's just not showing up. So it's just not there to select. So then what we can do is come back over here and let's just try the next one. I'll copy that and throw it over here. Okay, so this one shows up and it has an audience of 2.9 million. Okay, so now let's say that we actually run an ad and this one works really well. Then what you want to do is take this one, this Shea Moisture, and come and throw it in. I'm going to click off bath salts here and throw in Shea Moisture. Give that a click, and I'm actually going to back out the age range again. And I'll even back out the gender again just to take a good look at it. Come back to demographics, and we'll see that, okay, 99% women now. So let's definitely go back to women. And then now we'll see the age range is quite a bit different here. And you don't have to go by this, right? If you ran the ad and it worked, I would go into the insights on that ad and see which age range converted and probably just stick with that age range, but also worth taking a glance right here to see what this says. So let's say it's the 25 to 34 that converted for us really well. So maybe we want to take a look at other pages that could potentially work as interest for us. So there's the Shea Moisture. All right, here we got the main choice. And this has a 597x affinity, so that's pretty high affinity there. So that's how you can use Facebook audience insights to find very highly related audiences that you can target. But it still comes down to you ultimately just have to test. And then when you find winners, plug those in, find the highest affinity audiences off of those, and test, and see what works and what doesn't. Another thing you can do, and this is pretty straightforward, but so we're doing bath salts. Just run a Google search for best bath salts, and then take a look at the different top links here that are like 10 best, 12 best, 9 best, and just see the different brands that are listed in here. So right here, the first one, Aveeno. So maybe we want to jump over here, Aveeno. Okay, there's Aveeno right there, 4 million size audience, target them. And then you could literally just go through all these different articles and all the different brands and products and plug those in and see if they show up as an interest for you to target. And you can also plug these into Facebook Audience Insights and find high affinity audiences. And then another thing you can do is if you use Instagram or TikTok or really any social media platform, and say you go to one of your competitors' profiles, and like on Instagram, for example, you click the little arrow and then it gives you a bunch of other similar closely related accounts. Click into some of those accounts, make sure they are closely related, and if they are, and if they have decent sized audiences, jump onto Facebook ads, especially if this is Instagram or Facebook that you're working with. Jump onto Facebook ads and see if it shows up as an interest. Okay, now let's talk retargeting for a second. So retargeting is going to serve a few different purposes here. So number one, it's oftentimes it's really easy to think as the person that's running the ads that you don't want to annoy people. But what you also need to keep in mind is it usually takes several points of contact until someone actually engages, checks you out, goes all the way through to purchasing. Of course, you can run an ad for the first time and people will purchase immediately. But there's also a very, very real thing where lots of people just need several points of contact, getting to know you, seeing you a few times until they take that plunge into actually, going to your website, buying a product. That's one reason retargeting is going to be good, is to be repetitive, to make sure people are receiving your message and the message of your product several times instead of just one time. Another reason that you want to use retargeting is to get in front of people, again, that have already purchased from you, because if they purchase from you once, they're highly likely to purchase from you again as long as they didn't have a bad experience. So retargeting them and continuing to send ads to them can be an easy, cost-efficient way for you to drive more sales. And oftentimes that can be much more cost-effective and efficient than trying to advertise to people who are completely unaware of you. And then number three, and this is something that Facebook it's incredible about Facebook, is their lookalike audiences. So and this comes back to patience and testing. Like, you really gotta have some patience and testing when it comes to Facebook ads, because you need to build up conversions. You wanna have, I think it's over 100 conversions is what you need in order to build a Facebook lookalike audience. And what a lookalike audience is once you have built up like a little batch of conversions, then you can tell Facebook to say, hey, look at all these people right here and go find me audiences of this type of person. Like, people like this that will buy my product, go find me more audiences like that. So if you come up here and just click this drop down menu, by the way, I'm inside of my Facebook Business Manager. Go watch my Business Manager tutorials if you need to set one up, or if you just need like a tutorial walkthrough on all the different features in here. But it's really good for housing everything, multiple Facebook pages, multiple ad accounts, and there's just better and more features inside of Facebook Business Manager. So inside of your Facebook Business Manager, click up here to get the drop-down menu, and then just click to Audiences, and that's where we're going to be able to access our retargeting option. Okay, so first I'm going to show you how to create a custom audience and what that means, and then I'm going to show you how to create a lookalike audience. So come up here, just click the blue Create Audience button, and then click Create Custom Audience. And then here's where you have all your different options for what kind of custom audiences you can create. So we've got a Use Your Sources section and a Use Facebook Sources section. So if you have your own website, if you have your own customer list, app activity, offline activity. So for example, if we clicked on website, here we have the option to include people who meet, and we can select any or all of the following criteria. Right here, you'll want to make sure you have the right pixel selected. Again, I have other tutorials all about the pixel. Go check those out if you need help with pixel. And if you click right here, I don't have a website link to this pixel right now, so it's not showing all the different options, but when you do, it'll show you that you can target people who have taken a whole bunch of different actions on your website. So if you want to retarget people who initiated a checkout but didn't finish it, you could select that option and create an audience based off of that to retarget, stuff like that. So really cool options in here. And then this one right here, customer list. If you click that, if you have a list of emails, phone numbers, addresses, stuff like that, you can upload lists of that, and then Facebook will match it with people's Facebook accounts and create an audience based off of that. Okay, then down here you've got some options. So if you click on video, right here you can choose to target people who have viewed X percentage of your video. So if you have a video on your Facebook page or you ran an ad with a video, you could come back here and retarget people that watched whatever percentage of your video. So if you click right here, you can target people who have engaged with your Instagram profile in any of these ways. So really cool stuff going on here. I'm not going to keep walking through every single one of these. You can do that. Now to create a lookalike audience, just click right here and click lookalike audience, and then you need to select a lookalike source, which is going to be a custom audience. So you need to create a custom audience first, and then you can create a lookalike audience off of the custom audience. So if you've got a list of people's emails that purchased from your website, upload that list as a custom audience, and then right here in this box you'll be able to select that audience as your source audience, and then right here make sure you've selected an audience location, so let's say United States, and then you'll select the audience size right here, click create audience, and now a lookalike audience will be generated off of the email list of people that have already purchased from your website. And that's where things get extremely powerful with lookalike audiences, because Facebook's going to go find audiences of very closely related people to these buyers that have already purchased from your website. And so if you, in this select audience size section, you've got some different options. You can create multiple lookalike audiences here at the same time, or you can create one at a time. I would recommend, I would recommend testing all of them, but definitely create a smallest, narrowest one to test. But again, test all of them, because I've seen multiple audience sizes work extremely well. So this would create a 2.4 million sized audience based off of your source customer list, or you could drag this and create a wider audience based off of your source list. And let's say we want to create 3 different audiences, and now you can create 3 different audiences like that, 3 different audience sizes to test. And again, like I've already said, test, 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 always be testing. All of these are really great strategies to help you find interest and get to good targeting, but ultimately it comes down to testing. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you've got to have each one of the 3 steps in place. So even if you've selected the right audience, if you put a bad ad in front of them, it's not going to work. So first, right audience. Second, put a good ad in front of them that works. Like, that's not for you to decide if it's a good ad necessarily. Like, it has the numbers that have to say the people clicking it, engaging with it, and buying based off of it. That's what decides whether or not it's a good ad. So people, right ad in front of them, and then wherever you're taking them has to convince them to actually make that final purchase.